I am
Yeah.
not ready.
We're going back to the old days of flying by the seat of our pants and not being ready.
Well, in this case, I am doing the sliding into home plate at the last minute thing, and you've already hit the live button, hadn't you? Yep.
Yes, we are
I can,
very live.
well, we're live. How about
I
that?
even got my notification from YouTube and from Facebook on my watch. Looky there, I got my notification.
Well, see there, I mean, look, if you just, you just, I mean, look, we are off air who we are on air. So, the heck with it.
Right. Yeah.
Let's just
Well,
do it.
we're yeah, just pull the trigger and worry about the repercussions later. All right, so this is show number 207, and I named it Nesting Habits. Did you get a chance to take a look at my cute little graphic? It
You
it
know,
shows an over-bloated politician who looks remarkably similar to one local politician, and he's sitting in a nest of stacks of hundreds.
yeah, yeah, I got a pretty good idea who that is. I think I know. And I mean, look, we talk about that all the time. So no surprise there.
No surprise there. So I would tell all my secrets of how I'm generating all those cool little graphics, but we might have some competition out there and well, we can't give away all of our little technical trade secrets.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so obviously we're going to talk about nesting habits, and I mean, let me make my screen here bigger because I can't read all the fine print underneath that
Well, I
image,
made
Abby.
it kind of small, but it's basically raking in the dollars. Did anything today happen at the city council meeting? What's up with the term limits? Are they up? I mean, what's going on? The Teal Jones investors uproar and economic development.
Good old economic development. Well, and hey, there's a little bit of stuff going on. Yeah, did you see the stuff released today about Trump?
Oh, I only saw the highlights, so give us the summary version.
Well, just kind of some of the stuff that went on. Some of the documents that were released regarding the raid on Mar-a-Lago, and have you been following any of the stuff going on with his trial up there in New York and all that stuff?
Well, I have been following some of the trial, and so yeah, we'll talk about that for a second while we're waiting on folks to join. Hello there, Christopher James Norris. Glad to have you again this week as well, or this show as well. So I've been following that some, and I saw where the Mar-a-Lago deal was like going to be a standoff, like the OK Corral between apparently the FBI and the Secret Service.
It would appear so. It would appear so. And and look, and something else I want to talk about. I found a great little cut, and I made a little short video. It posted it up on Louisiana Watch, but I want to talk about what one senator had a bill down in the legislature that I've heard nothing about, and it goes kind of straight to the heart of some of the problems in Louisiana government. And
Hmm.
I think you're going to be shocked, and I think the people are going to be shocked when they hear these numbers.
Yeah, it's all about the numbers tonight. Numbers, numbers everywhere. Yeah, we'll go to that video when we come straight out of the break. Talking about the Trump deal, now I've watched some of the, or just seen the highlights on the news media of the Trump trial in New York. And I've said this before, so I'll keep it brief. Here's what I've learned just watching the highlights and reading the summaries of these various trials and all that. I voted for Trump before. I will vote for Trump again. However, if I'm ever at a Trump rally for any reason and he makes the claim that he is the best at choosing people, I think I'm going to walk up there and punch him square in the mouth if the Secret Service doesn't tackle me first, because that is one thing he sucks at.
I mean, look, he has made some horrible choices, and I will
Terrible.
acknowledge that. But you got to understand, and I know, well, I was going to say I know something about you, but actually it is something that I don't know about you. But look, Trump went to that Wharton School of Business up there. That's like some heralded business school. And I mean, it's not a school for dummies. I mean, they actually produce some pretty amazing business types up there or whatever. And one of the things I can tell you, one of the principles of business that they would teach or whatever is about how the best business people, they make their decisions based off of the support people that they have with them. I think Trump had a lot of people. He invested trust in their decisions to give him advice on who to pick. He went with those people, and they were horrible choices. Case in point, Mike Pence. Mike Pence, they said, oh, if you don't pick Mike Pence to be your VP, there's no way you'll get the evangelicals. But if you pick Mike Pence, you're guaranteed to have the evangelicals. Well, as it would turn out, Mike Pence was working to undermine Trump from the very beginning. He was the one that literally set up General Flynn. It was Mike Pence.
Look, I don't disagree with that at all, and I don't disagree that a lot of the folks that he appointed and all that, and were looking out for themselves. But it just circles right back to my main point. He sucks at picking people. He might be a great businessman, and he may have been great on The Apprentice, but I've got an innate ability, a God-given talent for usually being able to read people and tell pretty quickly whether they're full of it, worth a darn, or whatever. And granted, I'm not perfect either. But Trump's terrible. Like, everybody he surrounds himself with has been a horrible choice. And I'm being a little facetious, but all right, let's just say 90% of them. So I'll just leave it at that.
I don't think it's not. I would disagree with that. I don't think it's 90%. I don't agree with that at all. I mean,
it's over 50.
Maybe 50%. I will agree with you that he has made some horrible choices, and but not all of them. I mean, look, that female attorney that he has representing him now, holy
she's
crap.
Pretty sharp.
Yeah, she is sharp as all get. I wouldn't want to meet her. Whew.
Yeah, she's pretty sharp. So I'm being a little facetious. And look, the worst choices he made are still better than any of the choices on the Democratic side that Biden could possibly make. So there's that. I'm just saying. Anyway, well, we'll just leave it at that. How about we go ahead and go to the countdown, go to the break. Let's come back out of, because the video clip that you have that we're going to show, it's about a minute long. Very interesting. You are correct about that, Mr. Lowry.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We're going to the break. Folks, y'all know what to do. Share it out if you hadn't already, or run and grab you a stiff drink. Make some popcorn. We will be right back.
If folks knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. There's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
Well, I've not heard my name in stable or Baton Rouge in stable in the same sentence in a long time.
I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
They're making a little bit of progress, but I would definitely have to give the race to Caddo Parish right now. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anybody from Plain Dealing watching, you think?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Did you or did you not requisition some money to fight against this or for it?
We hired a lobbyist, and it cost us $15,000. We were opposed to HB 630.
So for this week, folks, the cockroach of the week, according to Bossier Watch and Duke Lowry and Rex Moncrief, is
Raymond Cruz, legislative assistant. Allie Feaster Smith. Thank you, Allie. Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. No way it was not David. You know it wasn't David Montgomery. David ain't going to jump off in there with Chris. He ain't going to do it. He'd soon spit on him as he would even look at him. Man, this is a Mickey D's Krispy Kreme week. Didn't you know? Who's paying y'all? And if you're driving on the roads, are you safe?
It's on the road, yeah.
Well, I know you're on the road, but I mean, is this all folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to the border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS. Yeah, that's only going to cause more division that he claims he doesn't want to cause. And it's only going to cause more suspicion. We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing. Folk Coleman Project, the Walker Place deal. Through conscious, shocking actions. The purpose of their actions was to stop plaintiffs, being the Earl Coleman and associated groups and all that, from developing Walker Place. But here's the key thing, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr.
You hit the button. Does that mean that people are seeing us sitting here talking, chatting?
In theory, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. And here we are with show 207, back again.
Nothing like last minuting things.
Hey, it's what we're masters of.
Yeah, we do pretty good at it. Well, I couldn't resist. I just added a cut in here at the last minute because some of the topics we're going to talk about tonight, it goes to it, the term limits thing. I mean, as you know, you were on a group text that I sent out this morning to a lot of folks. I included a lot of people on this group text, and, of all of those folks, only 2 people responded to it. And, I appreciate those 2 people that responded to it. But, and a few minutes ago, I mentioned, we were talking about Trump, and I said, Pence, he set up General Flynn. And I remember, I guess it's been almost 8 years ago now, but the 2016 National Convention. And I literally did a Facebook Live with General Flynn. He was on the floor of the convention, and I saw him, and I just walked up and started a conversation with him. Cool freaking dude. And told him, I said, from Bossier City, Louisiana. And he's like, oh, Barksdale Air Force Base. He says, I love it. He said, when I was down there at Fort Polk, he said, we would go up on the weekends to Barksdale. He said, me and my wife, we spent a ton of time up there. He said, I love that area, love the community. He was just going on and on. Just a normal, regular guy. And here this guy, he was a Democrat. He was at the Republican convention supporting Trump then and talking about how important it was. Anyway, so just today, he put a tweet out. I screenshotted it, and not to put on this show, but I screenshotted it, or it was actually on the 19th. It just come across my feed today. And it made a point. It really did. It struck me. And here's what he said. He said, we're a nation founded by leaders who fought tyranny and oppression to ensure that all American citizens be treated fairly and equally across this land. These constitutional and God-given rights should never be denied or disguised behind false prosecution or political persecution out of fear, hate, or opposing voice. Those who scowl at the very core of our republic and act from vengeance or revenge against one of us threatens the safety and security of all of us. That's all I needed to hear. I don't care about the rest of it, but it's dead on the freaking money. No, I don't have you, Rex.
What about now?
I got you now.
Helps if I unmute the mic. Yeah, he is dead on, and of course, absolutely correct. And I would note that he says God-given rights, because a lot of folks tend to think that, and I've said this over and over, so I won't belabor the point, but a lot of folks think that laws or the Constitution give us our rights. The Constitution, in general, protects our God-given rights from the government. And I would remind everybody again, laws don't give us the ability to do anything. Laws only restrict our God-given rights unless it's a law that is removing a prior restriction. And that is a very important distinction. But anyway, yeah, you're dead on, and that's a great tweet to share out.
And you know what I think the most important part of what he said was the very first part, Rex. We are a nation founded by leaders who fought tyranny and oppression to ensure that all American citizens be treated fairly and equally across this land. That goes to the whole country. It goes to your local government, it goes to the federal government, it goes all over. And sadly, we don't have enough leaders stepping up, getting in the game. We've got people.
There are plenty of leaders, but they're stepping up to the game for the wrong reasons, and we're going to talk about here in just a minute. You know, some of them are enriching themselves, and that's why they're in the game.
And they do that because so many people they're more concerned with. I understand, look, we all have bills to pay. We've
Right.
got family, kids, we've got responsibilities, but there's not enough of us giving up a little bit of our time and a little bit piece of what we have. We're not prioritizing some of the things and activities that we should be. We're not giving it the time and due diligence that we should. And that enables these other people. There's people in our society. I mean, look, the majority of folks watching this show, we're all adults. Let's just say it like it is. There's some people, they fight all the time for stuff. There's
Right.
some people that all they do is the only thing they care about is enriching themselves. The only thing they care about is making their next dollar, or that's all they care about. They don't care about anything. They don't care if they step on anybody. They don't care about what they take from anybody. They could give a crap less. There's some people in our society, I'm sorry, they're just ignorant. They are not.
Well,
They're
but
not even Rhodes Scholars of Stupidville.
but here's the key difference now. I can forgive people that are ignorant because ignorant means they didn't know to begin with. All right? There's a big difference in ignorance and stupidity. So if you're ignorant of something, you're just not aware of it. You just don't know about it. Stupid means you know about it. You just keep doing it over and over the wrong way or whatever the case may be. So there's a big distinction there as well.
Either way, we've got problems in government across the board, and the problems is because there's not enough leaders at every level among all of us. There's just not.
All right. So before we get into the leaders who are making their cute little nest eggs, as in our graphic, so what is the deal with term limits? Are we throwing in the towel?
Well, I'll tell you what. So to the nesters, you know what? Y'all may be fixing to win because we don't have enough people willing to step up to the plate and volunteer to help. Everybody just wants a few people to do it on their own, and so we're halfway there with the signatures. But I mean, look. If people won't stand up for themselves, why should a few people do it for all of you when you're not even going to fight for yourself? Why should a few people do it? Why should they bear all the burden? So what happens when those people give up? Rex, have you seen Atlas Shrugged?
Yeah. But so are we going to stick to our mantra of the show where we call everybody out, even if it includes us? I'll be first to step up to the plate. I have not helped gather one signature this go round, so I'm as guilty as anybody. And I haven't really done the digital side either, because to be honest, there hasn't been enough interest. So I'm calling myself out. Are we going to start naming the other politicians who are going along just for the ride, just so they can say they supported term limits?
Well, I mean, I'm not to the point of calling out names, and that's not the purpose of it is, but I mean, I think everybody can read between the lines as to who's actually done anything and who's tried or what have you. But there's a lot of people that talk the talk but don't walk the walk. They don't.
Literally don't walk the walk.
Yeah, and that's not the point of this. But the point is that, I mean, everybody wants to fight government and everybody wants to do something, but nobody wants to do it. They don't want themselves to personally do it. They don't want to do it. They want to talk crap, but they don't want to do it.
They don't want to have to get their hands dirty or even break a sweat for that matter.
Anyway, I've had a pulse in my face for several weeks about it now. And, so it is teetering on the balance of just throwing it all in the trash. So for there's a few folks that have hustled and gotten signatures, and to you guys, you've got my respect, and I tip my hat to you. Cliff Smith is one of them. Cassie, you're one of them. I mean, there's some folks that have gotten some signatures and done some work, but it's not enough. It shouldn't be that it falls on the shoulder of just a few people. And unfortunately,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. So I guess nobody cares.
We can only scream, and mainly, honestly, it's been you and the Colonel. You can only scream and stamp your feet so long before, well, it's pointless. All right.
So you and I will just continue to talk about all the stuff so that everybody can know that there's stuff going on so that nobody will do anything.
Yeah. It's a great big circle.
It's a wonderful thing. We can always have a show and we'll be able to always just complain. Everybody will be happy.
Wow. All right, so I'm going to put a check mark that we've talked about term limits. We haven't completely thrown in the towel yet, but it's getting pretty close. So what about the city council meeting? Did you happen to watch any of the city council meeting? It was only like 25 or 30 minutes. Wasn't much.
I did not. As you know, the turbo blew up on my truck leaving the crawfish farm today, and so
diesels don't do well without the turbo.
No, they do not. So I slid into home plate at the last minute. No, what happened at the council meeting? Do tell.
Well, there wasn't much to it. I did watch at least the vast majority of it, and Chris Smith was leading it. I guess Jeff Free was out today doing whatever. Anyway, so Chris Smith had a handle on it. He did a good job, of handling the business of the city council logistically and all that. But anyway, the only real thing there that I saw was they had some drone footage of the Walter O. Bigby carriageway and showing the roundabouts almost finished. I think they said they were above 90% completed. And if I remember correctly, they said they would have traffic on it within a few months. I want to say July or August. Don't quote me on that. But I did notice something because I went through that roundabout going to Bass Pro Shops last night. Have you seen the grass over there at the roundabout? I should have stopped and taken video and pictures right there by the Tower of Tax Dollars monument to our beloved benevolent overlords. Have you seen the grass there?
Well, no, but I'm just wondering, did they pass an ordinance to buy a hay cutter or a round baler at the council meeting or something? Is that where you're going with this?
Well, they need to. I mean, it's getting pretty close to that. They need to go cut the grass on that stupid roundabout at the stupid city monument of tax dollars.
I'm thinking that they could make a monument of the monument. I've got an idea, and I won't even charge them for it. A monument to the monument. Here's what they do.
What's that?
They need to put a fence all the way around the sidewalk around the monument. I know it's got the little fence around the thing, but between the monument and the little fence around the monument, and then there's the grass, and then put another fence around there. And they need to either put goats or something like that, and some goats, because the goats, that's representative of all the citizens of Bossier. Y'all are the goats.
I'm thinking more along the lines of they could put donkeys up there, as in asses.
Well, see,
But they don't really eat that much grass. So they'd have to put the goats.
But see, that we're the minority, Rex. The majority of the citizens are goats. The majority of them, are not like us who think about that it should be in the context of describing, the people who run government as being asses. I mean, that's not the way it works here. I mean,
yeah, it'd be us petty little poor goats worshiping down at the base, the footsteps of our benevolent overlords.
Yeah,
Who all have their names around the tower of tax dollars.
It's their money paying for it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, the only other thing worth mentioning from the city council meeting was Chief Haugen got up there and he just did a kind of a summary of the crime stats, and most of us have seen that in the news, that the crime is up in Bossier some, but he did explain, and so I'm just going to summarize it quickly. Again, don't quote me on these stats, but he said of the homicides, I think he said 100% of those had been solved. They had all been solved within 36 to 48 hours. That the violent assaults, that they were above, I think he said 90% having those cases solved, and most of those have been solved within, a couple of days, and a lot of them pretty much immediately. So there was a little counter narrative to the increased crime stats.
Well, that is good for today. I wonder about some of the murders historically, like the Norris murders down off of Barksdale Boulevard. I wonder if they could elaborate on that.
That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of things I need to elaborate on.
But anyway, squirrel.
Squirrel.
So,
and something that was not mentioned at the city council meeting, but I got a interesting notification today that there must be some kind of, and we don't want to go too far into it tonight, but there must be some kind of battle brewing that has the firemen all in an uproar. Are you aware of any of this with the pay or whatever's going on?
You don't say.
Yeah. That's just what I've heard. A little birdie.
Well, I think some time back we had gotten some message or an email or something to the effect of some allegations about some disparity in pay. I find it ironic. I didn't see. Did we get a proton mail or something updated?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, there was some allegations. I remember it was some time back, and it really didn't go anywhere. But then you've had the police and the pay issues regarding the police. But now I guess we've got some questions regarding the firefighters' pay, and so
that is an
very interesting
ongoing discussion, battle, however you want to put it. So there should be more to come to that in a few weeks or couple of months.
Well, look, public safety in Bossier City is and always will be the wedge against the goats. That's the way it works. And, the goats, or you're going to take back your government some way, somehow. I don't know how, but somehow you may do it. You may get lucky. But I don't know.
Hey, there's a comment in here from Christopher James Norris. Good point. He says, no mention at today's city council meeting about the pay study. Somebody was paying attention to the Bossier City Council meeting.
Yeah, good catch, Christopher Norris. And I do understand, Rex, that there have been some meetings down at City Hall regarding the pay study committee findings or what have you. But they probably come to the conclusion that, the Charter Commission's probably going to save the day and do everything.
Right. I have about as much faith in that as I do Santa Claus. So I
I,
tell you, one other
I
side note
expect
too.
I expect them to take away the goats of Bosier's right and ability to petition, because they're going to say, you know what, they won't even use it. They can't do it right, and they won't even use it. So you know what, we might as well not even have it in the charter. We might as well just get rid of it. So
Yeah,
then
we'll
what
see.
y'all gonna do?
There were only a few people in attendance at the city council meeting. John Settle was there and a couple other people. But I will say this, I did notice that there were 25 people watching the YouTube video live while I was watching. So I did notice, there is that. I think enough people are paying attention, just not enough people are actually attending the meetings
Or taking any action. But
or taking it.
speaking of watching, so bloated government, we
Yes.
we've got
Yes.
bloated government everywhere. I mean, it's like a leech that just you can't even cut it off with a knife. It's so
So it's like chewing oysters. The more you chew them, the more bloated they get.
ooh. I don't eat oysters, so I don't know about that.
Never
Can't do it.
chew an oyster. Don't chew oysters.
Not happening. Not gonna do it. Ain't got to worry about that. You're safe.
Yeah.
You can have them all.
Shall we roll the video, folks? Y'all need to listen to this because Duke, you did a good job of cutting this little clip out. You're starting to get a pretty good some pretty good tech abilities yourself. So I want everybody to make sure it's only about a minute long, but listen to the numbers here. Very important to listen to the numbers. Here we go.
1,000 people. Ohio, 55. Florida, 56. Wisconsin, 58. Colorado, Texas, 65. Colorado, 63. Tennessee, 65. Michigan, not exactly a red state, 68. Minnesota, not a red state, 76. Pennsylvania, 77. Virginia, 82. Louisiana, 97. We have a bloated government, and until you do something like this, it's going to continue, and nobody will have the opportunity to fix things until the Constitution gets out of our way of having an efficient government that everybody says they want. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
So what was he talking about? What were those numbers that he was spouting off there?
An efficient government that everybody says they want. Everybody says they want good government. Wait a minute. Huey Long.
That was chicken in a pot or something, wasn't it?
No. Huey Long said Louisiana is going to get good government one day, and they're not going to like it. Something like that. But what he was talking about, Rex, he was citing statistics for every state, and the number of state employees per 10,000 residents of the state. And did you hear the states he was saying?
Well, yeah, wait a minute. That's the number. I want to repeat that again for those in the back. That's the number of government employees, state employees, per 10,000 people. Now, he spouted off some numbers of 50. I think Texas was 50 something, maybe 60, and Pennsylvania,
Texas,
Florida, and all that. They're in the 50, 60 range. But he said Louisiana was in the 90 range.
96.
That's 96 government employees, state employees per 10,000 people.
We're at the top of the food chain on quantity of employees in the state. And
what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. And here's the deal. This is the deal. What he's talking about is that the state government can't get rid of people, and look, I was a civil servant. The bill he's talking about is a bill to amend civil service at the state level, because you've got a ton of employees that, I'm just going to say it this way, government cheese, feeding off of the state government. You can't fire them. You can't get rid of them. and they bounce around within state government, and you can't get rid of them. He even gave an example about one employee that, and I had to go back, if you went back in that video and you watched it, about how they literally were getting into fights or being combative with people, tried to discipline them, and the state civil service board or what have you, they couldn't even get rid of them, couldn't get rid of the person, couldn't fire them.
But aside from that point, I'm just looking at it from a logistics and a monetary and a budgetary thing. We wonder why, we're seemingly always broke in this state and don't have the things to do that we need to do. Like I've been on my soapbox on the outdoor news side about the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and things they need to do with bass fishing and ducks and crawfish, whatever else. And here we have 1.5 times the number of state employees as Texas does and Florida does and probably California too. That's ludicrous.
You said 1.5. It's closer to, two times.
Well, it's almost, depending on the state, but I'm saying from 60 going up to 90 something would be about 1.5 times.
And it would be one thing. It would be one thing if our state was at the top of the food chain in every metric. If our roads were as good as some of these other states, if the services were as good, but our services are not. We rank at the bottom of almost freaking everything, and we've got double the employees.
That's
per
crazy.
capita.
I wonder what.
Look,
I'm just thinking off the top of my head real quick. I wonder how our city government fares per capita versus other city governments per capita. That's an interesting question. I wonder how we can find that out.
I want to share a story with you and those watching. I mean, and a lot of people know that I served in a role, prior to Jeff Landry, being sworn in as the governor. And, there was a discussion, and I heard some stories about different employees within state government in anticipation of getting, Jeff Landry as governor. They quit their job and dropped down to a lesser job, their more senior job. They dropped down to a lesser job so that they would have the civil service protections and didn't have to worry about being fired and could protect themselves and keep from being cut. They literally can move around within government as they wish. When the time's right to go feed, they can move up and move around and go feed. And then when, looks like somebody's going to come in and try to clean something up, they can back down into the shadows and then, hide under the cover and have protections to where, they don't have to worry about nothing. And then when the opportunity to come back up and feed again, it's like a damn alligator or a snake or a turtle laying on the bottom.
It's even worse than that. It's more like a bed bug or something. I mean, it's way worse than that. So I would equate them to cockroaches.
So you're going to hear a lot about this, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. And the senator there that said, people say that they want good government. And he said that facetiously. He said, people say they want it, but when it comes down to it, it's somebody's family, it's somebody's brother, cousin, uncle, whatever. I mean, it's just like when we had Scott on the show the other night, talking about, and we shared, the superintendent of Bossier Parish Schools. Clearly, his statements about the money following the kid and it being racist or whatever, he's protecting his own interest. He's protecting the interest of an entity, not the system itself. He's protecting himself and those folks. I mean,
I don't know how we fix this either. And that's a topic for a whole other conversation. But
it's going to fix itself. Because it's
going to one day. It's coming.
Yeah, it's all going to fail. It's already happening. it's all going to fail. And anyway,
Christopher James Norris says, doesn't Bossier have around 650 employees with some additional openings? Now, that's a good, uh, interesting question, Christopher James Norris. And again, we appreciate you watching almost every show we do. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's about 650-ish, something like that. Remember Richard Ray spouted off at that stupid trial or hearing that you and I attended, with Wes Marriott's case and the whole cell phone bill deal. And I think the number he spouted off was 650, maybe 700 or something. I'm glad you mentioned that, Christopher James Norris. I'm going to have to go back and find that number and then do a little math based on the Bossier City population and run the math out on that and see how bloated our city government is per
I'm just
10,000 people.
I'm just wondering. I mean, Chris Norris is talking a lot, and there's a few folks commenting. I mean, do y'all think? I mean, look, many of you may not have a knowledge of, say, the size and the population of Pennsylvania. We almost all have, a knowledge of size of Texas and quantity of people. Florida, size and quantity. Can y'all give us any justification for our state government should be running 2 to 1, the number of state employees to states that are arguably 2 to 3 times the size of us? Minnesota, Michigan. I mean, is there any justifiable reason for it? I mean, I would like to hear from any of you if you can articulate it. I mean, and I'm not going to criticize you. I would like to hear, a justified reason. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, and I would like to know, and I'm off on another tangent too. I would like to know what everybody's definition of good government actually is. What do you consider a good government?
That's a good one. That's a good question.
Yeah, what do you consider as good government? Because your definition, Duke, may differ from mine, and that may differ from Christopher James Norris or Jeff Sadow or Paul Black or Jessica Maddox. I wonder what everybody's definition. This is the homework for everybody tonight, and we would like for you to comment later, even if it's after the show, in the comments. I may put this up as a poll or something on the Facebook page. What is your definition of good government? Whether it's city government, state government, what is your definition of good government?
All right, so Jeff Sadow has made it into the comment, so I guess it's time we can start talking about him a little bit or move on.
Yes, Jeff, you're about to be the topic of our discussion tonight again, but actually not in a bad way. He does say that the Manning report says 652 city employees. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go into raking in the dollars, and then we'll get to the Teal Jones investors deal. So, Mr. Sadow put out one of his, I hate to say good, because honestly, it kind of depends on your perspective, but put out one of his articles that, of course, had some good content. And it's really eye-opening, so let's see if I can share that out on the screen here. Give me just a second. Let me click this, and then it should be live. And I think I even have a cute little highlighter. Yes. Okay. And so the essence of the article was talking about financial disclosures forms as reported to the ethics board and all that by public officials. And really, I mean, the biggest one as far as we're concerned on Bossier Watch here is, of course, as we affectionately call him, Queen David or King David Montgomery. And we've talked about this before, but according to Jeff, he reported from his position with his family insurance firm, he's a half owner. In one instance, he raked in, according to Jeff and according to these reports, $202,000 for insurance sales to 7 different local governments that have a Bossier presence. So in 2008, the first year that state law had changed to require the disclosures, Montgomery has gotten since then $3,160,000 $172,612 from Bossier-based governments, albeit none directly from the city because, well, that would be illegal. What say
Hey,
you to that, Mr. Lowry?
well, you and Jeff Sadow together just spawned a thought in my mind. I do
Okay.
know from our past study and records and discussions on show stuff, one of the bodies that the king writes insurance for is the port. So,
Why, yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I've got a screenshot here in just a second showing that fact.
oh, okay. Well, that necessarily wasn't the thought that you spawned in my mind, but when you were talking about, Jeff's article and the king versus queen, whichever day, anyway, and I was thinking in my mind, and then you said Teal Jones, and the port, and I put them all together. Well, I'm sure that he writes the errors and omissions for the port. Well, I wonder if any of those investors that will tell why they might be a little irritated with the Teal Jones thing up there that was the baby of the port. I'm just wondering if they were sold by Eric England and the port on, hey, this is a good solid investment. I mean, and if they were, I, I don't know if steered is the right word or not, but I mean, I wonder if any of that could ever come close to errors and omissions.
I don't know. That's a very interesting question, Mr. Lowry.
And I
And,
might be, I'm no lawyer and I'm no insurance guy, but it just got me to thinking a little bit.
yeah, very interesting. So, um, I did a little quick math, and Sadow estimates that since 2008, Montgomery's gotten an estimated $3.5 million in insurance from these various government entities. And so when you put the calculator to that, that comes out to about $280,000 per year over the last 16 years. That's a substantial bit of money.
It seems like you'd want to be in the insurance, and it seems like you would be want to be on a government body that would appoint people to every one of the bodies that you could then write insurance for. I could
Yeah.
see how that would all work and be to your benefit.
Yeah, very well could be to his benefit. Now, let's see. Let me see if there's something else interesting in this PDF I want to highlight. It says some of his buyers he has authority over with his position as counselor, along with other counselors. For example, the council selects a member of the Cypress Black Bayou District. It occasionally doles out funds to the Visit Shreveport Bossier, used to be the Shreveport Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau. And, Jeff didn't come out and say that Montgomery has done anything unethical, but it's just the appearance of that. I mean, I don't know, that's awfully close to a gray area.
Well, I mean, I would bet if you were able to get his phone logs, especially if he was having correspondence with, rank and file police officers, to go after individual businesses. But I mean, I'm just hypothetically saying, but you'd never be able to get those phone records because they don't exist, right?
Oh well, they don't exist if they're over 18 months. If they're 19 months, then it's almost impossible to get them, according to Richard Ray's line of horse crap.
It's mythical.
Yeah. David Womack makes a comment. He says, "Man, gotta make a living, fellas." Look, David, I'm a capitalist through and through. I am not opposed to somebody being an insurance agent and making all the money in the world. That's absolutely fine with me. But when you're a sitting city councilor who can't be pried out of his city council seat, and you're writing the insurance for all these other government entities, and it just so happens you've literally been on the city council longer than some of our watchers have been alive, it just doesn't look good. I mean, he can make plenty of money in the insurance business another way. Stay away from these government bodies is my deal. I'm not against him making all the money he wants to make as an insurance agent. or
But
business
again,
guy or real estate guy or whatever.
But again, like General Flynn said, there were leaders who fought, to ensure that everybody got equal treatment by their government, across the board. But we don't, in my opinion, we don't have people fighting for equal treatment. In fact, the people that we have, running for office and serving, not all of them, there's a few good ones, but a lot of them, they've all thrown in with the king. They've thrown in with him. He jingles that money, and they're on board with him. And I think Jeff Sadow even talks about a similar situation with the city judge and his wife, who's a police juror.
Right.
They're all on board with the king. In fact,
Well,
Go
let's
ahead.
look at some of those numbers. So hold on a second. Let me put that one up here. Now, this is an excerpt from the filing here. But as you can see, let me see if I can get my cute little highlighter going there. This is from, I believe, this year or the 2023 report. Anyway, you can see right there, Montgomery Agency, Bossier Parish Police Jury, $44,000 a year. That's just for 1 year. Oh, look, there's your favorite group there, Duke. The Caddo Bossier Port Commission, $49,500. There's the Caddo Bossier Port Commission, another $16,300. And whatever this Cons Waterworks Sewer District of Bossier is, $8,000 right there. So, he did get $17 from the 26 JDC. I guess that explains, his phone records. $17.
Go
I don't know.
Skylar. Skylar got the best of him. I like it.
Here's the Shreveport Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau, $8,200. And of course, I guess that's his salary as a city councilman or whatever. Oh, the Good Sheriff's Office, $66,000 from the Good Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And which law firm represents the sheriff's office? Oh, that's right, Juliana Parks's.
Oh, wow. Imagine that. Oh, and look here. My favorite people up there at the Cypress District, $9,200 from the Cypress District. Now, look, maybe his insurance rates, like Jeff said in his article, maybe his insurance rates are just outstanding. His customer service is outstanding, and he just beats everybody.
But this is Bossier, Rex. We don't shop in Bossier.
We don't shop around. Take people at their words. We don't shop around.
We don't shop.
Yeah. So, you just can't make this stuff up. So, hence the little nest egg there that people like to build around themselves and kind of do a little nesting and make sure they've got their stuff. And again, David Womack, I'm not opposed to him making money. I'm a business guy, capitalist through and through. It's just, come on. I mean, I don't know. That would be like me being a city councilman getting all these website and IT contracts from the police jury and everybody but the city council. I don't know.
I mean, but look, we must be the only one. I mean, we must be the only ones that care about it because the public doesn't care. The goats, they don't care because they don't say or do anything about it.
Yeah,
it's right there in front of their face.
They just keep reelecting people, don't care about term limits, whatever. I don't know.
Looks good to them. Hey, little Italiano, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Just don't sit in that seat.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, if you hadn't read Jeff Sadow's article, we'll share it out on Facebook as well, but you can go to bossierviews.substack.com and read all this stuff there. Of course, it's pretty good stuff. So what about these investors, Mr. Lowry? The Teal Jones plain dealing, not really in plain dealing investors.
Well, I think, there is a distinct possibility. A while back, you and I had a conversation. We said, you know what? And it was another, like a professional media person. I mean, while we've done a lot of shows, we still consider ourselves amateurs because we're learning every week. I mean, right. I think. But we said that we have to rehash some things sometimes. We have to go back through it from the beginning to the end. And I think this is one of those cases because I think a lot of our viewers may or may not know exactly what we're talking about when we say Teal James and we talk about the sawmill in Plain Dealing, or where?
What was the name of that little town?
Antrim.
Antrim. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Because it's technically not in Plain Dealing, it's technically in Antrim.
Well, to give everybody the really quick summary version, because we covered it in the last two shows, point by point, the Teal Jones sawmill in Antrim, otherwise known as referred to as Plain Dealing, filed for bankruptcy. The parent company did, and it's had a cascading effect that our news media and the president of the Chamber of Commerce has claimed doesn't affect. That must be a green cup. Doesn't affect the Plain Dealing sawmill. Yes, it is a green cup. See it? It disappears. It goes Casper. That's cool.
That is Halo, brother.
I just totally lost my train of thought. Here goes amateur hour again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I can pick it up whenever you're ready.
Okay, so yeah, let me finish my little thought and then roll with it. So the president of the chamber has posted in the one of the Plain Dealing Facebook groups, and Channel 3 has reported that it doesn't really affect the Plain Dealing sawmill. We showed case by case, point by point last week that it does have a ripple effect on it. Now, again, we hope that they open the sawmill and everything goes hunky-dory and they provide jobs and all that. But why don't you pick it up from there, Mr. Lowry? Some other folks found out?
Yeah, so Teal Jones is a solid company. We talked about in our previous show,
Right.
if you didn't catch it, we talked about, look, their problems originate from, I'm just going to say it, and if you're a leftist and if you're a Democrat and you take offense to this, I'm sorry, but we hurt people's feelings even on our side of the aisle every week. But they got themselves in a bind up there because the tree hugger leftists up there and the new Canadian government, sided with the tree huggers to shut them down to where they couldn't, do forest. Their problems came in when, they filed for bankruptcy. They didn't really tell anybody around here. We know that for a fact because they released a statement, I'm assuming, to like you said, the Chamber of Commerce president and various public officials in Bossier put, shared out on social media and put statements out saying, because we reported it, we broke the news that they'd filed bankruptcy. Nobody else had put it out there, not the mainstream media, nobody.
Right.
And it almost seemed like it was an attempt to say that what we were saying was not true. That's kind of the way that I took it. Well, we came back the next show because they said it has, like you said, it has nothing to do with the Plain Dealing sawmill. That's totally separate. Well, that's bullcrap. Yeah. We literally showed the filings that included, the Plain Dealing mill in it.
And not only that, the attempted sale of the Plain Dealing mill in April.
Exactly. Before they filed for bankruptcy, they were trying to sell their interest. They were trying to sell it off and get rid of it. But that didn't happen, so it got included in the bankruptcy and their percent of the share. So look, we're vindicated. People can call us whatever they want to call. I don't give a damn what they can call us, but we were right. But here's the thing, and here's the most updated and most recent thing. So what I've learned here recently, Rex, is that, there were minority shareholders in that thing. As we understood it, Teal Jones had a 56% stake in that investment. So there were other minority shareholders that stretched from the Louisiana, I'll say it this way, the western boundary of Louisiana and the eastern boundary of Louisiana, from the basically the red to the Mississippi. Just say it that way.
Yeah.
And so here's what I learned this week. What I learned was they learned about the bankruptcy filing. Do you want to know how, Rex?
Oh, gee. Did they learn about it from the mainstream media, or did the Chamber of Commerce alert them to this?
No, that's not how they learned.
Gosh, Mr. Lowry, how did they learn?
How they learned was somebody sent them a link to our show.
Imagine that. And I bet some of those investors know us personally, or we know them personally. Anyway.
Well, I think probably some of them do, but here's the more interesting thing. How is it that the majority interest of that company was sought to be sold before they filed bankruptcy, but the minority owners had no knowledge? I guess they weren't given the opportunity at even buying those minority shares. So I'm just wondering who down at the port that put all this thing together, who down at the port, you telling me that they didn't know either?
And here's the other thing. So I don't know how familiar everybody is with bankruptcy, but those shareholders in that company are at the very, very bottom of the totem pole of getting anything at all. That's the way that works, unfortunately.
Now some of those minority investors, and I'll say it this way, I think my opinion of them, I think they do good things in our community.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
You know, they have enough money to where they can throw into things to try to promote, you know, business and things to promote the communities around Northwest Louisiana. You know, I appreciate that. I do. I respect that. But you know, I have to wonder what is their thought processes now on economic development going forward. And I say that word because, you know, while I was perusing through a lot of bills in the legislature, and that one that I made that little video of, Rex, I can't tell you how many of the countless new economic development districts that are like trying to mirror what the port is doing. I mean, they're popping up all over the freaking place. They're nonstop. So I'm just wondering, everybody, what do y'all think? Do y'all think we need more of this type business where you don't vet the companies that are on the verge of bankruptcy or has this, and we're using taxpayers' dollars to prop up these you know, new economic development things? I mean, should it be your dollars that are propping all this stuff up or not? I mean, because
I'm all for the private investors, and by definition, investments are risky. You know, some more risky than others. I'm all for the private investors being able to do that. It's just when the public tax dollars through the port and everybody else and all the dog and pony show get involved, that's when it comes into our purview for the purposes of the show and reporting this.
Well, I'm just, all those politicians, are they working for all of y'all, or are they working for special interest? And I mean, look, we all know the answer, but when will they do anything different? Oh, that's right, leaders. There's got to be leaders that step up and question things or say something or ask questions, and until that time, it'll be business as usual. We'll have more economic development. You will pay more tax dollars, and more of your money will go to wild goose chases. For example, I hear lots of people are getting all in an uproar about all this solar stuff going on in Northwest Louisiana. Haven't you heard, Rex? We got solar plants going up everywhere.
Yeah, and not just that. SWEPCO, the power company, and look, I get it because they're having to transition off of coal, I guess, because of federal regulations and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the federal government's making that exceedingly difficult. And so they're transitioning to solar and or going to. I just wonder how much we, the taxpayers, are going to subsidize that.
Well, you're subsidizing a ton of it. Case in point, you've got states who are getting federal subsidies to utilize so much or mandate and utilize so much percent of solar within their state. And you have things happening like, for example, states like Alabama and Mississippi who are buying excess solar from states like, or renewable. Let me say it that way, because Texas puts out a lot of wind, but they're buying it from then. Well, then it's got to be transmitted. So what do? They're expropriating a ton of land to build transmission lines across Louisiana. And oh, by the way, if that happens to be your land, you can't do anything about it. The state of Louisiana can't do anything about it and stop it. They're just coming through and taking your land and putting it across. And Louisiana's not getting anything. It's coming across those transmission lines going from Texas and west across Louisiana into Mississippi and Alabama. And anyway, don't ask me how I know that, but hopefully we'll get Commissioner Mike Strain on a Louisiana watch here in the near future, and we can have that discussion a little bit more in depth. But for a lot of y'all, know that that's the kind of crap that is going on. So for everybody who has a cotton farm in Caddo Parish, North Caddo Parish, and if they come to you and they want to put 100 acres of solar things on there, just know that you might be screwing your neighbors for transmission lines just so that can freaking go to another state.
And somebody's going to be laughing all the way to the bank every single time. That's the biggest issue.
Until the first hailstorm destroys like almost all of them, which we get a lot of hail, But either way, it's y'all that are paying for it. I mean, so all the goats are paying for it, and you're not going to say nothing. You're just going to keep right on chugging your money down up until you become somebody that the government needs to raid your home or your business or your office or your work or whatever. And, or even, and if you don't submit, you'll be like Cheryl Atkinson. They will threaten you that you will submit, or they will, show your husband to be, they'll manipulate your social media or your phone or your records or your computer to show that, your spouse or whatever was into kiddie porn or whatever, just so they can frame you. I know.
Surely that never happens, Mr. Lowry. Surely.
I mean, but look. Y'all don't have to worry about nothing because the voting machines, they're not connected to the internet, right? They're not. Look, that's just all black helicopters and the jab, the COVID stuff. Look,
don't worry about it. They're all your friends.
Don't worry about it. Y'all, and if you wear a mask, you are un-American and you are harming everybody in the community and society. You're a menace to society, all of you.
You see how that's worked out for everybody.
You're a super spreader if you don't get the jab.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
Cut 20. Let's go there. Okay. I'm wound up. I'm ready now.
All right. So let me click that. Let me drag this over and let's do this. The illegal raid. So this would be usually more of Louisiana Watch stuff, but it's very interesting. So for those of you that can't see in the back, this is concerning the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And it says here, the order contained a policy statement regarding the use of deadly force, which stated, for example, and this is the part that's highlighted in yellow here, law enforcement officers of the DOJ may use deadly force when necessary. The agents plan to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, and medium and large size bolt cutters, but were instructed to wear unmarked polo or collared shirts to keep law enforcement equipment concealed. Just stuff that pair of bolt cutters right down your collared shirt.
Look, who assumes that anybody that, is a peace officer, that's post certified, I'm just wondering, do they not have the right to use deadly force anytime they so choose? Why do they need it in a warrant? And especially, Why do they need it in a warrant of a former president to secure presidential records that allegedly he's not
Well,
supposed to
okay.
have?
So there's always the flip side to that, because the former president's going to be surrounded by Secret Service, and those guys have guns. So you know the old rule, don't go into a gunfight without a gun.
Okay, so one, I'm just wondering, does everybody realize that on the Mar-a-Lago thing that first off, Trump didn't ask for any of the records that those cats all went to get? Two, they sent them. He didn't ask for them, and you know who sent them? The DOJ and all of them. After they had went through them, it was all sent after that, right?
Right.
And then three, the same people that sent them, they're the ones that got the warrant to go there to get them, and they put in there use deadly force.
I don't know why they would put that in writing. I mean, because if they got in a gun battle while they were there, they're going to be trying to use deadly force. I mean, it's just stupid to put it in writing. And folks, just so you know, this is the part of the show where we might get deplatformed. So remember, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, now known as X. Find us.
Well,
Anyway.
I'm just wondering, even for my Democrat friends on here, how do you think you would be treated if they're willing to do this to Donald J. Trump? What do you think they would be willing to do to you? Even if you are a leftist, even if you're the most loyal leftist, even if you are the ACLU, Antifa, you're the card carrying Democrat. You check all the boxes. Even if it's you, do you really think that you would be an exception in any way, shape, form, or fashion? What do you think they would be willing to do to you, or how they would treat you?
They already do that. It's called no-knock warrants and no-knock raids. I mean, they already do this. And they get it wrong sometimes. I'm not saying the majority of the time, but they get those completely wrong sometimes and raid the house. Anyway, that's a whole other tangent. But yeah, they're going to storm the castle if they want to.
Well, you know who funded them? Who's funding all this?
Well, it would be the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, which is funded by who holds the purse strings in our civics class? Congress.
Oh, if we could only get somebody in leadership in Congress, if we could only do that, if only we could get a limited government conservative, he would do something about all this.
Except that they put him in the magic transformation machine. Remember? He was all against it till he went through that magic machine, and he came right out the other side, hair blow dried, hair fixed perfectly, and he was.
Is that like a political microwave?
Oh, it's more like that little wind tunnel thing that they have at carnivals and all that, where you get in the wind tunnel and it blows around like 80 miles an hour and you're standing there and your hair goes crazy. It's more like that.
Yeah, but his hair ain't messed up. His hair still looks like it did when he was down here. A little grayer, but still, he's got good hair.
He's got people for that.
No. You must be behind the times, because he had like 4 of them quit today. 4 staffers quit today.
Yeah.
Well, they were all Kevin McCarthy staffers, but they quit nonetheless.
Christopher James Norris says some cities have gotten rid of no-knock warrants. Well, the problem with that is they may have, but that's only on the city police. That doesn't include the feds or the sheriff's department.
Yeah, that don't include.
They're all in on that no-knock game. Anyway, got another screenshot up here. Just shows that FBI MMM will engage with blah 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 and engage with U.S. Secret Service per existing liaison relationships, but be prepared to engage with the former POTUS and his U.S. Secret Service security team. It even says the FBI search team will knock on each guest room door to determine occupation status. FBI will request a map, list of rooms, and skeleton key card for all rooms from Mar-a-Lago staff. An FBI MMTTA with lock-picking equipment will be on scene. This is like reading from a movie script.
Well, look, I can see. I mean, look, ain't no Democrat gonna have no problem when this happens to Obama or Joe Biden or Bill Clinton. I mean, yeah, y'all ain't gonna have no problem with it,
lock
right?
her up.
Because when it comes full circle, I don't want to hear a damn thing, and I'm just look. I want to go back to this too. I'm gonna do everything I can to get us deplatformed here tonight. I'm just wondering, where are all those jabbers and maskers? Where are they at? I mean, it's deathly silent. They were raving about all of us out there killing people in society, not wearing masks, demanding everybody go get the jab. Where are y'all at? Because I'm not seeing all the pro maskers and pro jabbers. I'm not seeing
Wait
all
a
their
minute.
posts. I'm not
Wait a
hearing
minute.
it.
Listen carefully.
I mean, where are they, Rex? Where are they at? It's silent running out there. I mean, and I don't know. I feel like I am on another planet. I mean, because I don't hear, and I'll go back to Flynn. I don't hear the leaders, stepping up. If I was somebody that was demanding that bought it hook, line, and sinker, and look, they made a good pitch. They made a good pitch. They scared a lot of people. A lot of people took it hook, line, and sinker, took it to the freaking bottom. I'm talking about, you had 20-pound tests and it was testing all of it. But I'm just wondering, those should be the maddest people of all. But those people are nowhere to be found. I mean, y'all should be the ones that are stepping up front and center. You were the ones that were took to task the most.
But you don't know. Here's that your thinking is completely off track, Mr. Lau.
Okay, correct me.
Here would be the line of thinking. The government kept us safe and kept us all alive because we did that. See, we all think that people, and it goes back to, I've gotten on my soapbox a million times about Republicans and conservatives and blah, 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 ad nauseum. But we all assume that people think like we do. That is not the case, Mr. Lau. I guarantee you that the vast majority of those people that you're talking about, their thought process is the government kept us safe and kept us all alive, and it would have been orders of magnitude worse if we hadn't listened to the government and done what we did. And therein lies the problem, Mr. Lau. There is no fixing that. Remember we talked about stupidity and ignorance earlier in the show?
We did.
Okay.
We did. And there's all sorts of people. I get it. I get it.
I hate to burst your bubble.
I can't share my screen, but I got to tell you, you was talking about that Apple TV series, with Franklin, and I started watching it. I got hooked on it or whatever, and it takes me clearly back to, what is that quote? That those that give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. It's true. It's true. He was dead on the money. Again, one of those leaders that fought for their right to exist, and we're giving it all up, and nobody's fighting. Nobody. Even when they're wrong, they're not fighting.
Speaking of that, I missed Friday's episode. I think a new one came out Friday. I got to go catch up on it. Show. Thank you for reminding me. So, all right.
Anyway.
Anything else to ramble on? Ooh, looks like State Representative Danny McCormick was watching. Hello, Mr. Ricky Bridges, Samantha Cheatham.
Hey, I wonder,
Hawkins.
Danny, if Danny is still watching, I don't know if he's got the link or not. I'm going to shoot him the link up because I want to know. Danny, whoa, I don't know how the heck I did that. I want to know if we're free to drink milk or not. Do you even know about that, Rex?
I've heard about that, and we need to have Danny on Louisiana Watch because I want to know somebody's got to get me up to speed what this whole controversy is over drinking damn milk.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Danny's at the heart of it because Danny, I saw a video where Danny said, "Hey," he said, "we still live in America," and he said, "I think people should drink whatever they want to drink and can do whatever they want." Danny, if you're watching still, text me real quick. I'll send you the link. Come in the show because I want you to explain to everybody how in the Louisiana legislature your government is trying to the Department of Health and Hospitals, the same ones that was trying to mandate you get the jab, mandate all this stupid crap down there, social distancing, all masking, and the most extreme crap. Those same people are the ones trying to prevent you from being able to drink milk. I mean, I don't drink milk. I do the almond milk. That's what I do. But
I don't drink milk either. I like milk with my cereal, though. I'm like to eat cereal when I think about it and have time, so I drink milk with my cereal. I use milk when I cook eggs and omelets when I actually do cook something. But
I've been dying to get into this milk thing. I've been dying to get into it because I want to know what in the hell is going on down there that they want to try to tell people they can't drink milk.
yeah, I'm not. I don't know what the whole deal is either. I want somebody to get me up to speed. And why, if somebody wants to drink milk, let them drink milk. Oh, there's Mr. McCormick. So let me see if I can get the screens set up here. Give me just a second. Let me assign Danny to a camera here. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, because I got a question for him. I want to know. Damn it.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm mad about this, and I don't even drink milk, but I want to know.
Okay, we should have Mr. McCormick on. Can you hear us, Danny?
I can hear y'all, man.
Audio's a little garbly, but that's okay. We can hear you.
Well, here's what I want to know, Danny. What I want to know is when I go to drink some milk in my house, even though I don't drink milk, but if I want to drink milk and I go to drink milk, are they going to put on the warrant to arrest me that they can use deadly force?
Hopefully not, but they might. You can't tell about Baton Rouge. They did look out of the ag kitty today, and what we're talking about is fresh milk or raw milk. And I think to me, drink what free people want to drink, but they wanted to bill it down a little bit. It has to be labeled pet milk, but it's like code word for pet milk is raw milk that's human consumption. So, and Baton Rouge is legalized. We just made a loophole where you could legally buy it.
All right, so we got a few technical connection issues. Here's the way I see this, Mr. Lowry and Mr. McCormick, if you can hear us.
Can you hear me now? I'm walking outside.
That's actually much better. So I can just see somebody doing a no-knock raid on Duke's refrigerator to get his gallon of milk out. Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, possibly so. I agree. Duke. He's kind of an outlaw kind of guy trying to drink this raw milk down here against Baton Rouge will. And actually, Commissioner Strain was the biggest adversary to the raw milk bill. He said it was his responsibility to keep Louisiana citizens safe. When I always thought it was my responsibility. Evidently, Commissioner Strain thinks it's his responsibility. So, it's always been legal to drink raw milk. It's always been legal to give people raw milk. You just could not pay people for raw milk. That's what the issue is.
Well, I gotta get clarification here and make a delineation. Are we talking about goat milk or are we talking about cow milk?
It is goat milk, and to my understanding, you may be able to drink goat milk too, but we're talking about cow milk. It's legal in all states but 4. But evidently in Louisiana, and I'm making a joke here, of course, but evidently all the out migration people were the smart people, because the rest of us left are too dumb to decide what kind of milk we drink.
really don't care whether people want to drink raw cow milk, raw goat's milk, or if they can find it, raw camel milk for all I care. It's on the individual to decide.
Well, we're all a bunch of goats because there ain't enough of us that are leaders that are standing up fighting against the lunacy that government is deciding what we can or cannot drink or consume. I mean, good grief, we're all a bunch of goats.
I will have to say that the House is nobody in the House committee, nobody in the full House, Democrat or Republican, opposed the bill. But there's just a whole lot smarter people over there that in the Senate than we are in the House, because they had all kinds of problems with us drinking whatever kind of milk we wanted to drink.
So it's the Senate. It's the Senate that doesn't want us drinking milk.
That's right. That they all the smart people left Louisiana, and the rest of us, the Senate needs to tell us what we can drink and can't drink.
Wow.
That's crazy. I thought this was a little bit of a joke, but then I saw in one of the committee meetings, and I saw you had a quote where you said, "I think free people should be able to drink whatever they want to drink." And I was like, "Well, wait a minute. This must actually be real. They must really be trying to stop people from drinking milk."
They are, and and like I said, it's it's really when you think about it, whether you want to drink raw milk or you don't want to drink raw milk, it really doesn't matter. The tenacity of the people in Baton Rouge to be able to think they can tell you what you could drink and not drink is unbelievable. Anybody that won't give you the freedom and liberty to decide whether you want to drink raw milk or not, those people have a character issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. So, of course, that begs the question, though, and this is what somebody else will say. Oh, well, does that mean that they should be able to drink cyanide or gasoline or diesel or anything else that they want to drink? And my response is, well, if they're dumb enough to drink it, go ahead.
I don't know if it's against the law for them to drink that, though, Rex. I think you can drink that okay. It's just raw milk they're worried about.
No more siphoning gasoline, according to we can drink gasoline when we siphon gasoline and diesel, but we just can't drink milk.
Speaking of drinking gasoline, when I was younger, I was raised during the gas shortage, right? My dad had a 50-gallon tank he put in the back of my truck. We never bothered to hook it up to the truck, so I had to actually siphon gas out of that tank down into my gas tank. And I got a little bit carried away when I was sucking on that hose one time, and I swallowed me about a half a cup full of gas. It don't take you but once swallowing that much gas. You don't do it again.
Exactly correct.
I had a similar experience, but I'm wondering if you're wondering why you're bald-headed like me.
I understand, yeah. When my daddy passed away, I got his little sign that he had on the wall that said, "God made a few perfect heads and put hair on the rest," so I'm just with that since I'm bald.
There you go. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on and clarifying as best you could the whole raw milk thing.
Before we leave, I want to show y'all my shirts. Here, let me see my shirt. Can you see my shirt?
Yeah, hold it there for a second because we got a little bit of lag. All right. Taxation and theft. I can see that. Taxation is theft. Is that what that says?
Taxation is theft.
Illegal theft.
That's it. That's right. That's when I get up. That's right. When I sleep in Baton Rouge in this shirt, when I get up in the morning, I look in the mirror and remind myself how I'm going to legislate the coming day. So
there you go.
And in a time of higher thinking, it was called legal plunder.
That's it. That's correct. And that was who was that author? Frederick
Bastiat.
Frederick, I can't call his last name. Bastiat. That's right. He wrote the book, The Law. The Law. That's an interesting book for some of your viewers to read if they've never read it.
You better believe it, brother. I highly encourage folks to read that book, Thomas Bastiat, The Law. Frederick Bastiat, The Law.
I agree. That's it.
All right, Danny, we
Any more
appreciate it, my
knowledge y'all
friend.
need to you bet. Any more knowledge I need to bestow on you all from Baton Rouge of the wonderful things for deciding what you can and can't do down here?
Y'all just
Oh,
keep giving us content. That's all I can ask.
Hey, there's nothing short down here. You have plenty.
all right. Thanks, Danny.
Yeah. Thank y'all guys. Have a great night.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye bye. So it's legit. They're
Wow.
trying to get the milk.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, I had seen a few deals on social media, and I thought, no, surely they're kidding.
Well, now I got a little bit of a problem because the ag commissioner, he's all for it. I mean,
Well, sounds like we're going to have an interesting discussion with him.
it sounds like it. I mean, dadgum, if he's even going to try to get the goat milk, I mean, all the goats out there in Bossier, what y'all going to drink? I know what they'll drink, but it won't be milk at all.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mr. Lowry, anything else that, any other wisdom we can bestow upon our guest tonight?
No, I ain't got nothing. I wish we had some leaders that would step up. I hate to throw away the term limits thing, but ain't nobody stepping up. Few folks, but not
It's
enough.
the more there is, I don't want to say dissension or turmoil with the term limits because that's not the right word. The more that there is inaction on the term limits front, by the group as a whole, the more our politicians get to make those nice little nest eggs full of money and $100 bills.
Yep, your money, but
Yeah.
everybody doesn't care. So, anyway, that's all I got. Have a good night. Beware of warrants that come to the door. They will have deadly force written on them. I mean, even
No
if you're
knock
the
warrants for
president.
your fridge. They're coming for
Yep.
your fridge. Be careful. Hey,
And
we're
hey,
out of here, folks.
good night.
That's it. Yeah, good night. We're out of here.
That's all
Y'all
I
know
can
the
say.
drill. Yeah, y'all know the drill. Go to bossierwatch.org or .com. Donate a little money if you can, and if not, well, we'll be here next week to bestow more enlightenment upon all of our wonderful viewers. Yeah.
Good night.